A look at more local stories now. Health Chief Yeung says the H6N1 virus has been found in wild birds in Hong Kong before.
This comes after Taiwan announced yesterday that the world's first human case was found on the island. News of the world's first human H6N1 avian flu infection has prompted fears of another bird flu scare. Health Chief Yeung said today that experts say the virus has been found on wild birds in the territory before, but insisted it wasn't in poultry. Ko said the virus may have mutated for it to be able to jump to humans, but more tests are needed to find out the answer. He added that it's too early to conclude that the virus was spread from human to human. Ko said the government is in close contact with Taiwan and the World Health Organization in an attempt to gather more information. Speaking to reporters after the Long-Term Housing Strategy Steering Committee's meeting today, Housing Secretary Anthony Yeung said members have agreed to give priority to groups of people who are in need of public housing.
Overall, we feel that we will give slightly more priority to families versus single persons. But in terms of age, we feel that we need to give more priority to the elderly. And we also feel that we need to give priority to those households living in inadequate housing units, including subdivided units.
The government has set a target of 447,000 homes to be built over the next 10 years. Yeung said the committee is now drafting a consultation document, which is expected to be rolled out in September. EXCO convener Lam Win Kwong says there is still time for the public to have discussions on universal suffrage for the SAR. Lam said the government has made it clear that it does not have a timetable yet, and he believes there is still enough time for the administration to do so. Lam also defended his remark that the government should scrap LegCo's functional constituencies in 2020, which has drawn criticism from pro-democracy activists who think he is trying to steer people away from joining the July 1st rally. Lam said he only made the remarks for people to consider, and he had no other intentions. A concern group is worried about a growing trend of youngsters committing suicide due to relationship problems.
They say the main factor triggering suicidal thoughts is the lack of family support. Emily Sue reports.
22-year-old Danny tried to kill himself twice, both times because of girls. When he was 14, he overdosed on sleeping pills after his first girlfriend dumped him. The second time was after he left secondary school, when he got into a fight with his girlfriend on the phone. Danny's case is an example of a growing trend among young people of trying to kill themselves over a relationship, according to suicide prevention group Samaritan Befrienders. There were 845 suicides last year, 12 more than 2011. And out of those, 21 were aged 19 or younger. Another 55 people in the same age group failed in their suicide attempts. About 30% chose to kill themselves because of problems in their love life. The rest were due to school pressures and family issues. Most of the 1,970 calls to the group's suicide hotline were related to sex or relationship troubles. But the group believes their family is the real problem.
But unfortunately, if you see all this figure, for lovers, all this affair is only superficial. Because what is behind the underlying problem is a family where they cannot find support when they face problems or difficulties.
Kwong stressed that blaming kids for lacking self-control or emotional quotient will only make things worse. Self-confidence is what they need to get through rough patches.
What do they want? They need to have self-respect from themselves and from, first of all, from their friends or from the family. And obviously, if they feel respect from themselves, it's even much better.
Last month, a panel set up by the government to look into children's deaths found kids as young as 9 have killed themselves due to love life problems or pressure from school or their parents. The panel made more than 20 recommendations to tackle the problem, including educating the public better and life skills training for children so they can cope with crises. Emily Sue, ATV News.
Overseas again, 3 people have been found dead in a river in the Canadian province of Alberta, which has been hit by heavy flooding.
And a massive operation is underway to rescue around 60,000 people trapped by floods in India. Arthur Urquiola reports.
The Indian government said the army has been deployed to rescue thousands stranded in the Himalayas after mudslides triggered by the heavy rains blocked roads. The monsoons and resulting floods have reportedly killed more than 1,000 people. Supplies are being airlifted to those stranded. Some survivors said they had gone for nearly a week without food by the time rescuers reached them. Authorities said some 33,000 people have been taken to safety and that the monsoon rains, which hit a month earlier than usual, should cease soon. Meanwhile, floodwaters are receding in southern France, which was hit by flash floods earlier this week. But sludge and rubbish brought in by the floods continue to affect several riverside towns. Rail services are also still suspended. At least 3 people have died in the Canadian city of Calgary, where floodwaters are flowing through the streets.
Our cul-de-sac had a little bit of water in it, but not too bad, and then went for a cigarette, came back out of the garage, and we had a river going down our road, like it mattered 10 minutes.
Rescuers have evacuated around 75,000 residents from 25 neighborhoods in the Alberta city. A state of emergency has been declared in a dozen communities.
The rest of the community is pulling together to fill sandbags and help wherever they can.
About 4 inches of rain has fallen in areas of southern Alberta in the past 2 days, and more rain is expected over the weekend. Arthur Urquiola, ATV News.
Time now for sports with Raymond Yeung.
And a lucky escape for the Mercedes F1 team from Tiregate.
Well, that's right. They got away with a light punishment. But first in rallying, World Championship leader Sebastian Ogier leads by a comfortable margin after the opening stage of the Rally of Sardinia. Driving in his Volkswagen Polo R, Sebastian Ogier was in a league of his own at the Italian rally in Sardinia. The Frenchman cruised to a 46-second advantage after a trouble-free first day. There was a closer battle for second position between Mikko Hirvonen of Citroën and Ford's Terry Neuvel. But Hirvonen fought up a relentless challenge from the Belgian and grabbed a 3-second cushion heading into the second stage.
50. Right here, nice.
Hairy moment occurred in the second stage when Russian Evgeny Novikov rolled over during a corner, forcing him to retire and give up his 3rd place. Ogier's Volkswagen teammate Jari-Matti Latvala also suffered a setback after a tire puncture cost him 2 minutes and he finished the day on 6th place. Mercedes have got away with serious punishment after they were found to have violated Formula 1 rules due to a controversial tire test last month. At a disciplinary hearing in Paris, the sport's governing body FIA banned the team from taking part in this year's young driver test at Silverstone next month. But they escaped heavier penalties, including race bans, fines, and even exclusion from this season's championship. In May, Mercedes drivers Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were seen using a 2013 car during a secret tire test with Pirelli in Spain. FIA regulations state that current race cars are banned from such tests. In defense, Mercedes officials argued that they had been given qualified approval by FIA, adding that the team wasn't trying to gain any unfair advantage. The tribunal disagreed, saying the approval was based on the condition that other teams are notified. Both Mercedes and Pirelli will share the costs of the case equally with FIA. Japanese carmaker Nissan has unveiled what it describes as the world's fastest electric racing car. Reaching speeds exceeding 300 km per hour, the zero-emission on-demand racing car, or CRC for short, will feature at the Le Mans endurance race next year.
This is the first time we'll see an electric vehicle perform a lap of Le Mans. It will set a world record, and in doing so, it will change people's perceptions of this technology forever.
But there's a catch. The developers admit that current battery technology doesn't provide enough capacity for the vehicle to race continuously for 24 hours and hinted that a hybrid may eventually replace the all-electric prototype. In other sport news, American Bubba Watson is leading after the second round of the Travelers Championship, while tennis stars get set for the biggest Grand Slam of the year. Golfers at the Travelers Championship in Connecticut were greeted by bright conditions as play resumed. Among the best performers of the day was American Bubba Watson, who carded a 3 under 67. The 2010 winner leads the pack after round 2 with a 10 under 130 overall. Irishman Padraig Harrington is trailing by 2 strokes after registering a round of 66. Another 2 shots off the pace are major winners Keegan Bradley and Webb Simpson. The pair of Americans are among 21 other golfers who are within 5 strokes of the leader, meaning it could be a tight race to the finish. Final preparations are being made in London as Wimbledon kicks off on Monday. 7-time winner and defending champion Roger Federer faces a tough road to the final. He could bump into home favourite Andy Murray in the last 4, although the Scot didn't pose too much of a challenge in last year's final. Top seed Novak Djokovic has an easier path, as his biggest threat in his half of the draw will be Spaniard David Ferrer. 2 days after causing a stampede in a Shanghai event, David Beckham looked unfazed as he set foot in the eastern city of Hangzhou. The 38-year-old retired footballer paid a visit to a children's hospital, where he flashed his trademark smile while signing autographs. The father of 4 said it was an emotional encounter with the kids.
It must be so hard for the parents, because as a parent, you have so much affection and love for your children, and you're responsible for them. So I can't imagine what the parents are going through. I was trying to make funny faces to her, and it seemed to work.
The former England captain will also attend training sessions and watch football matches during his tour. A look at the weather before we go. It was mainly cloudy with squally showers today. Temperatures range from 25.7 to 29.3 degrees, while the relative humidity was between 83 and 98%. Winds were moderate to fresh easterlies, occasionally strong offshore and on high ground. Let's check the ultraviolet reading. The maximum recorded for the day was 8. And tomorrow's UV index will be around 5. Let's take a look at the weather in the region. The outer rain bands of tropical storm Belinda are bringing squally showers to the coastal areas of Guangdong. And moving on to the satellite images. A little earlier, Belinda was about 130 kilometers south-southwest of Haikou. It's forecast to move west gradually across Hainan Island. Here's what we can expect over the next few days. Mainly cloudy with squally showers tomorrow. Temperatures will vary between 26 and 29 degrees. More of the same on Monday with a top temperature of 29 degrees again. The wet weather will stay briefly before brightening up later in the week. Now for tomorrow's air pollution levels. General stations will be low to medium at 10 to 40, and roadside pollution levels will be medium to high at 40 to 70. And finally, here's the weather around the world.
That's the main news for Saturday night. We'll have an update in an hour. I'm Edna.
I'm Raymond.
And I'm Anne Sim. Thanks for watching ATV. Good night.
Good night.
跟住落嚟係日語大放送。